Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming to the Power 94.9 Lounge today. My name is Lindsey. Don't worry, I am not the Lindsey that you came to see. I know, she is coming. The Lindsey that you came to see is somebody who has won multiple awards. She sells out stadiums all over the world. She wrote a New York Times bestseller. She's kind of a talented woman, and we are so excited to be with her today. So let's go ahead and bring her and her band out. Everybody give it up for Lindsey Stirling. Awesome. I brought the baby today. Okay, everybody, this is Drew. Yes, hi. Drew and Lindsey and Luna, her dog, and Kit over here. All right, Luna, just lay down. And Luna will just sit in her lap as she's playing, or that's what we experienced during rehearsal. If she looks a little nervous, we might take Luna, but otherwise, is she okay?
Yeah, she's okay.
Okay.
She'll settle.
She'll settle down.
She'll get it.
All right, well, thanks for the wonderful intro.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Stay.
Yes, stay.
Sit.
And you sit.
Not you. You're fine.
All right. Well, thanks for coming out, you guys, to hang with us. We're going to play you a couple songs. We'll chat a little bit, answer some questions. So if you have any questions, think of them. And this first song we're going to play you is from my new album, which comes out, I can't believe it, in a week. So I'm so excited. But yeah, this is the first single from that new album. It's called Underground. All right, Luna, I need you to sit down. There we go. Lay down. There you go. Good girl. Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's funny, when I first got Luna, I adopted her, and when I first brought her home, I started playing the violin like the next day, and she got up, and she went to like far end of the room and just looked at me like, and I was like, oh gosh, I don't know if this is gonna work out. She was like, I do not like that sound. But then she got really accustomed to it, and now when I play, a lot of times she'll jump on my lap and like, usually she falls asleep and we'll sit there as I play. It's actually very sweet. She's a little on edge right now. She's like, I can't see them, but I can feel them. I can hear them. Yeah, it's a little bright. Yeah, she's my little baby. You know, and it's funny, I didn't even put the 2 and 2 together. Her name is Luna, which means the moon in Spanish. And my album right now is called, or the album that's about to come out in a week is called Artemis. Artemis is the goddess of the moon. And I really was fascinated by all the symbolism of what the moon means and what Artemis represents. She's the goddess of the hunt, goddess of the moon, and she's the protector of virtue. And so the entire album was written inspired by those themes. And in tandem with writing an album, I also was so excited about it, and I started to develop like characters and think, well, how did she become the goddess of the moon, and what's her story? And so I ended up writing a comic book that is all about, you know, and the two go hand in hand. The comic book tells the story, the music shares the soundtrack of the comic book in a way. So anyways, it was a really fun project to work on hand in hand, and this next song we're going to play for you is actually called, it was the first song that I wrote for the album that I was like, okay, I think I got it. I think I figured it out. I wrote a lot of bad songs, and then finally you kind of catch your groove, and all it takes is one song to kind of give you this confidence back again, because at first you start to be like, oh gosh, I lost my gift. I lost it. And then you write one song, and you're like, I got it back. I got it. So this was the song that actually inspired the name of the album, because first I called this song Artemis. We've actually never played this acoustic before, so, and it's not released yet. It'll, so you guys are some of the first people to ever hear it, which obviously this is a very different take on it, but it's my personal favorite song on the album. Okay. Hey Luna, will you sit down? Will you lay down? Lie down? Here we go. Oh, she doesn't want to. It's easier. I have to like avoid her head. Okay. Literally. Okay, we're just gonna. She wants to face you guys really bad. I keep trying to angle her. She's like, my audience.
Keep my angles.
They've come to see me. Yeah, she knows her good side. Okay. Do I got you? I'm not gonna hit you. Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3. that's about right. So, it was really exciting to write this album because for the first time, I think, ever writing an album, I got to draw from a place of joy. And I say that because my Shatter Me album, that was inspired by, I really drew from my experience in overcoming anorexia and depression. So, a lot of dark emotions were kind of coming out through the music. My last album, Brave Enough, was inspired by what I was experiencing at the time, which was loss and grief. My best friend and my dad had both passed away from cancer. And I was dealing with a lot of really hard emotions that I'd never felt and a lot of pain that I'd never even knew was possible to feel. And, during that time, it took a while to go through that process of grieving. And I had kind of accepted that I think loss just changes you. And I think death, experiencing that, changes you. And I was like, I think that rose-tinted glasses carefree version of myself is just gone. I think she died with my best friend and my dad, and I don't think she'll ever come back. And so I kind of accepted the new me. And then right about the time that I was getting geared up to write a new album was the same time that I felt myself come back. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's not that I was gone. It's not that I lost myself. It's just that I was going through a hard thing. And I'm back. And so that's, again, why the album is called Artemis, because I've been so inspired by the moon and how sometimes you look up at the moon and you know what it is. It's a big, huge circle of light that brings light to darkness. But then there's other times when the moon goes through dark phases, and sometimes it gets completely covered by shadow, and you look up at the sky, and if you didn't know better, you'd think it didn't exist anymore. But just like the moon, it will always come back to full light. And all of us, just because we get covered up by situational depression or by hard things or grief or loss or whatever it is that we all struggle with, where sometimes we're not enough or sometimes we doubt ourselves, it doesn't mean that you're not still powerful and strong and full of light underneath whatever it is you're going through. You're just having a moment or a day or a year where maybe you're covered up by shadow. And if you keep fighting for it, you will come back to full light. And so that's kind of one of the biggest themes of the album, is that just because the moon is covered in shadow, it doesn't mean it's not there. And that's like every single one of us. So my hope was that people would feel like, in a way, that they are Artemis. And that's why this album was really fun to write, because I was writing from a place of excitement that I had rediscovered Lindsey again, and she's always been there. So this next song we're going to play for you, I want to thank the radio station because they're playing it. Yes, thank you so much for playing my song. I did this song with Elle King. She sings on it, and she's amazing. I wanted to work with her for years. We met her years ago at a festival when we were playing with her. In Memphis. So it's really fun to be full circle and now having a song with her. She's actually here in town tomorrow, so you can check out her show. Yeah? You're going to be there? Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I wish I was still in town. I just learned that I know. We're missing the football game tonight, which I'll talk about that later. Yeah, we'll get in. Yeah, they're honorary Cougar fans. They have to be. You have no choice. Today.
Mitch Matthews, too.
Yeah, we met Mitch Matthews.
We're kind of all right.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you're not a Cougar fan.
Not really.
Oh my. Kids, we'll talk about this later. A whole tour to get through.
Are we true to my school?
No, I respect that. Okay. All right. Well, with no further ado, we're going to do an instrumental version of The Upside. Drew, my number one fan. Thank you, Drew. One, two, three, four. I'm so amazed she hasn't laid down yet. Like, she's performing right now. I don't know if you guys know that. She's like...
Her tongue's a wild.
Really? Nothing brings her more joy than kissing someone on the mouth. She's looking at all of you like, so many lips to kiss.
She's an assassin.
Yeah, you're gonna get them, okay. Yeah, don't warn them, Lindsay.
Surprise.
The Luna surprise.
Ninja assassin.
Yeah, she'll get you. Do you guys have any questions? Yes.
Of all the places you've been other than America, what was your favorite? Where was your favorite?
Oh, I'm gonna have to say, I think like Holland and like Amsterdam, Denmark, like that whole area is so charming. I'm a big Harry Potter fan, Luna, and it made me feel, I was like, I feel like I'm in Harry Potter. And like we rented bikes and we like rode around Amsterdam. Almost got killed. It was so fun though. So that might be one of my favorite places. Yeah.
How was doing the Avatar? Was that hard or was that a lot of fun?
It was a lot of fun. It was really interesting, like because I kind of set my expectations low, but then when I went in and I put on the suit, I was like, oh my gosh, like it looks like my movement. Like it really matched me well, and it was really funny because I've never done a full performance where I just get to watch myself perform, and don't even. Yeah, dang, I got it. No, Drew's laughing because sometimes in performances they have monitors for the audience to see, and usually you can't see them. Every once in a while they're angled so you can see them on stage, and it's really hard not to look at them. So you're in the middle of a show and you're just like, oh, like...
She stares.
I don't stare! I'm just like, wow, I am a mesmerizing creature. No, it's because... It's almost like it's like more of a self-conscious thing. You catch yourself and you're like, oh, is my line good? Like, oh, this is better angle. And all of a sudden you're like, no, I'm performing. And like, it's so hard not to look at it. But anyway, so this time I was allowed to look at the monitor because I was watching it happen live as I'm like performing and dancing. Oh, for anyone who's not aware, I did a virtual concert the other day, which was really cool. It was streamed online, and they created an avatar of me. So I had one of those suits on with all the tracking points up even through my fingers. So as I played, I could watch this like almost like a video game looking character like play the violin, and all this light was floating around and like petals are flying around me, and like one point like lightning would strike on the beats. Like it was so cool. They created this whole world, and you can check it out. I think it's probably still on YouTube.
I'm certain.
I know it's on. You can find the links on my Facebook or on my Instagram, but it was really, really cool. So glad you got to see it. It was a really interesting experience for me. Yeah.
I just want to say I love you, but also,
Well, thank you.
I was a fan of yours for a really long time, and then when I saw you on Dancing with the Stars, I was really excited to get to know you as a person.
Oh.
So I just want to thank you for doing that.
Oh, well, thank you. That was such a cool experience on Dancing with the Stars. I just loved it, and thank you. I killed it. No, I only say that because I mean my partner and I worked so hard, and obviously like far from perfect. I'm not a ballroom dancer, but we were really proud of like what we created that season, Mark and I, because we just worked so hard, and we were on tour at the time, and so I remember when I finished my last routine, I just started crying because I was so relieved that I did it. Like, I did it. I didn't once fall on my face or humiliate myself. And I felt like I did the best I could. But secondly, I was, really sad because I was like, oh, it's over. I loved putting on my ballroom shoes every day and pretending like I was a ballroom dancer. It was so fun.
You are a ballroom dancer. You did wonderful.
Thank you. I loved the experience. It was so fun. Yeah.
What are some tips you give someone who'd like to pursue music?
My best tips, actually, I would like to hear. Let's have my band. We're all musicians up here. We've all carved our own paths. So, what's your best advice?
Become a manager if you want to make a living.
Okay, we're not gonna let Drew talk anymore. All right. No, wait, okay.
Kid, you go first.
I guess it's about finding what you love about music in terms of it depends on what instrument you're playing. If you're a drummer, do you love doing all sorts of crazy fills, or do you love doing the grooves? And find kind of your niche, and then find either a group to play with or build a group around yourself, and kind of build your brand, because everybody kind of has their own brand as a musician on what they excel at. and what they can offer to the industry.
Yeah. And based on what you put out there, that's what people will come to you for. So making sure that whatever you put your footprint on, like make sure that's what you want to do. Otherwise you'll start to build a brand that people will come to you for that isn't necessarily what you wanted. When I first started, I actually was in a country band and very quickly realized this is not what I want to do. I don't want people to come to me for being a fiddle player. And so I quickly switched gears and was like, what is my footprint that I want to leave? But also I would say sometimes the courage to just start doing stuff. Like I look back at the first videos I put on YouTube, they were not perfect. They were not good, but people found something in them. People liked them. If you hate it, you can take it down, but I think it's so important to just start where you're at, what you want to do. Just start showing it to people. Show up at open mic nights, play. Just start doing it because there's no real rule book. And you just got to kind of write your own rules and go for it.
And also, be easy to work with. Because a way to look at it, too, is the people you meet on your way up or the people you meet on your way down. So treating everybody the same at every single level and just being easy to work with and really grateful and everything like that, that's been a huge thing.
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah.
Okay, so you're the reason I want to play violin.
Oh.
I've already been playing for a couple of years now.
Oh, so you already play?
Yes. But why do you play violin? What was your reason?
Right. When I was a little kid, my parents had this old record player, and my dad had so many classical records, and so that's what I grew up listening to. I was just exposed from a very young age to, the suite of Scheherazade and Andrew Borodin's music and the Nutcracker, and that's what I listened to as a child. And so as a result of that, the violinists almost always get the solos. They get the big moments of the songs, and so I started begging for violin lessons when I was 6, just inspired by purely auditory, hearing these orchestra pieces. And I've played ever since. Yeah. All right, any others? Yeah.
I just want to say the music helped you to get through some of your own crises. Your music helped some of us get through our own crises too. So
Well, thank you.
It's true.
Thanks for sharing that so much. I appreciate that. Yeah. That means a lot. Thank you. All right, well, if there's no other questions, we'll go on. We got one last song to play for you guys. This is one of my favorite songs to play live, one of our favorite songs to play live together. Well, actually, maybe I'll let you guys have a choice. If you're familiar with my music, then you can chime in and say if you have a choice, or if you have an opinion. We've got Roundtable Rival, which is more of a fun, upbeat, hoedown. And then we've got Take Flight, which is a little bit more of an emotional. That song was written about hope and... All right, we're going to do Take Flight for you, for the lady right over here.
I heard a few reactions.
Oh, okay?
Too.
All right, for the people, we want some Take Flight
They're
today.
all kind of oh yeah.
Yeah, this is the more, ooh. But yeah, this song was written about hope and more specifically, I guess even faith, because I even said to the producer when we were working, I was like, I want it to feel like what it feels like when you have to take steps into the dark. A few steps into the dark, and then what it feels like when you see that light at the end of the tunnel of okay, the choice I've made and the what I'm going for that I felt right about is actually right. And so that's what this song is written about.
Okay,
Will you
remember
please
that?
sit down? Are we okay? Okay.
She's like, it's not in my contract. I was commissioned for 5 minutes. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4.
think I'm with so many people here when I say violin strings are like literally heartstrings that you just tug right at.
I like that.
I know you guys have a plane to catch, so I want to be pretty quick. We're going to do pictures of Lindsey and the band too in just a minute. I know when you were on America's Got Talent, you received a really harsh criticism from Sharon Osbourne that was, she didn't believe that you could do what you do and be successful at it, like sell out arenas or sell out big rooms. And I'm wondering, so many of us face, you know, criticisms and no's in our lifetime. How do you, or how did you, in the face of that, continue to go on and then do exactly what she said you couldn't do?
Right. Well, I don't want people to think that it, you know, I just was like, whatever, lady, who cares? I mean, it was devastating. Not only, you know, Sharon, but Piers Morgan, like they all were like unanimously like, you gotta go. You're not on this show anymore. Like, you're terrible. You know, and said some really harsh things, and it was absolutely devastating. It was one of the most humiliating moments of my life, and I had it in front of 11 million people who were watching. But also, I remember in that moment believing everything they said to me. Like, you're right. I'm not good enough. You're right. And it took a moment where I went backstage. I cried for hours. I didn't get on a stage again for probably like 2 months. I was just like, I don't know if I could do this again. But there is something inside of us that I think is our inner voice, our gut, and whether you see it as like a connection with God and the Spirit, or whether it's just like you or the universe, I believe so strongly that there's something greater than just ourselves, and that will guide you to let you know if it is time sometimes to pivot and go like, okay, well, that wasn't working out. Like, maybe I shouldn't be in a country band. Maybe I should try over here. Like, there's times when it's time to pivot, and then there's times when you say, no, I'm being told that it's not over yet and I need to keep going. And so that was a big moment for me to say, like, you know what, they were right in one thing. I wasn't good enough, but I wasn't good enough yet. And that's, I think, the most important thing I learned from that experience is, like, all they could see was what was in front of them at the moment, and they judged it the best they could. And they didn't have to be so mean, but they were, in a sense, they were right. I was not ready for what that stage. But I knew something that they couldn't possibly know, and that's that I had grit, and I was going to work hard, and I had what it took. And no one else can ever determine like who you are and what you have inside of you. They just kind of make the best judgment of what they can see, and it's our job to say, well, okay, maybe I wasn't my best that day. Maybe I didn't show up quite ready or good enough yet. And then it's your turn to say, I'm going to push through, and I'm going to come back, and I will be ready next time. And I practiced, I honed my craft for years, and then I came back like, look at me now. Look at me now.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
it took years. And many other failures, mind you, many other times of falling down, but it's just like, who's going to get up again the most? Who's going to show that, you know, it's really perseverance at the end of the day that gets anyone to their goals.
Well, you have become an artist that nobody else is like. Like, you are uniquely you and so inspiring to so many people. And thank you so much for sharing your talents with us today.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. Everybody give it up for Lindsey.
Thank you so much for coming, you guys. It means a lot. Thanks for being here. And again, thanks for playing my song on the radio. And, you know, this is one of my homes. I don't have very many places that I call home in the world. You know, one of them's Arizona, where I grew up, and one of them's here in Utah, you know, where I started my career here. So anyways, it's a special place to me. So thank you guys for being here.
And we have, before I let you go, wearing the Ute shirt. But the reason why Lindsey is such a BYU fan is because she went to
I went there. I was a BYU grad right here. So, yeah.
So may the best team win.
Right? Oh my gosh, I have faith in my Cougars. They're going to do it. This is the year. Come on, guys.
All right, one more time, everybody. Give it up for Lindsey, Drew, Luna, and Kit.